Well, I think in Washington you have a Trump administration which I would argue has divergent endgames with regards to Iran. President Trump clearly doesn't want any conflict in the Middle East. He doesn't want regime change. He essentially wants a deal with Iran, or at least a big summit with Iran. Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton, I think is on the totally opposite page. He's long advocated for military strikes and regime change in Iran. And then you have Secretary of State Pompeo, who's in between them, trying to reconcile these competing impulses. And his focus is basically, let's just focus on the means, which is economic pressure to bring Iran to the negotiating table. I think the Iranians, in response to this maximum pressure campaign, feel obliged to respond because they otherwise will project weakness. And I think the parameters in which Iran's supreme leader is operating is, on one hand, if he doesn't do anything, if he doesn't respond at all to maximum pressure, as I said, he looks weak, he loses face. If he responds excessively, he risks losing his head. And so that's why you see Iran, whenever they're counter-escalating, they do it via proxy, and they don't go oftentimes after U.S. assets. In this case, they went after a Japanese tanker. They want to try to maintain plausible deniability.
I just wonder if the world would be a better place if not. All I hear about are people losing face, and every decision we make, the trade talks, it's all losing face here, losing face there. If people just stop worrying about losing face, maybe we get somewhere. I mean, we don't want this to really start spiraling because of posturing on either side, do we? And don't cooler heads eventually, they're expected to prevail, Karim. I mean, isn't the economy tough enough in Iran right now?
They're in a terrible economic state, Iran, and this is a country which at one point was exporting several million barrels a day. It's down now to 400,000 or 500,000 barrels a day. When I talk to people in Iran, they say it's never been worse. They're enduring terrible economic consequences. I think you're right that both President Trump and the leadership in Iran want to avoid conflict, but at the same time, I think both is waiting for the other side to concede and to de-escalate. And there's both incredible mutual mistrust between the two sides, and at the same time, in the court of international public opinion, both the Trump administration and the Iranian regime lack credibility. So when the world is looking at these incidents, they don't know what to believe because they think that the Trump administration doesn't have a great track record. But of course, very few countries around the world have good relations with Iran or believe Iran.
Right. All right, Karim, we may need to talk to you again, hopefully not, but maybe next week, depending on what we see transpire. But we appreciate your analysis today.
Thank you.